Okey. Bir daha sorsana. Low level dedin.
Hocam low level design document'la yaptığımız proje final olarak mı değerlendirilecek yoksa ayrı ayrı mı puanlandırılacak?
Ayrı ayrı. Low level design dokümanı yanlış hatırlamıyorsam %25 falan etki ediyor olacak. Şeyde final projesi, yani bir oyun yapacaksınız ya, o oyun da işte %40 falan etki ediyor olması lazım. Bu şekilde. Şu ana kadar yaptığınız şeyler de %35 etki ediyor. 35, 25, pardon, yanlış söyledim. Ne demiştim? 10 puan kazandırıyor. Sizin yaptığınız sunumlar var ya, o 10 puan değerinde. Ondan önce yaptığınız şeyler var. İşte o dizayn dokümanları var. Onların da ağırlığı şimdi ezberimde yok ama o da 25 filandı sanki. Finali de %40 olacak şekilde düşünmüştüm. Öyle. Yani bayağı dengeli olabildiğince.
Hocam peki takıldığımız yerlerde projemizde size sorabilir miyiz konuda falan? Ya böyle ofis
Evet,
saati falan yapacak mısınız?
onu da söyleyeceğim. Bir hafta, evet onu konuştuğumuz iyi oldu. Şimdi bir hafta belirleyeceğiz sizinle. Aslında bu son tarihi olayını da o yüzden gündeme getirmiştim. Şimdi iyi hatırladım. Bir hafta soruları cevaplayacağım ben elimden geldiğince. Yani en azından direkt cevaplayamasam da hani doğru yön verebilecek kadar cevaplarım diye düşünüyorum ders içinde. Yani ders içinde herkesin bug'ını muhtemelen çözemeyiz. Ama en azından ne araştırmanız gerektiğini, yani Google'a ne yazmanız gerektiğini, nereye bakmanız gerektiğini falan açıklayabilirim. Bir de çok basit bug'ları da çözeriz tabii. Şimdi onu bence yapalım. İşte dönem ne zaman bitiyor? Ocağın sonunda mı bitiyor? 31 Ocak'ta mı dönem bitiyor? Yani derslerinizin bittiği zaman ne zaman?
Hocam bu hafta son derslerimizi işleyeceğiz. Sanırım önümüzdeki hafta.
Nasıl?
Hocası öyle demişti yani son haftamız dedi bize. Bilmiyorum.
Gerçekten mi? Benim
Aynen.
işleyecek bir sürü konum var ya. Olmadı böyle. Tamam. Neyse. Yani neyse önümüzdeki dönem devam ederiz en kötü. Bir sürü şey vardı benim kafamda.
Hocam belki dersten derse değişiyordur. Hani ikinci sınıf dersleri falan. CE
Bana
hocası
14
birinci sınıf
bana,
dersi.
bana 14
Öyle.
haftamız var dendi. 13'e
Hocam
götürmüş.
evet, normalde 2 haftamız daha olması lazım. Yani Ali Hoca öyle demişti. Yani bununla beraber 2 hafta da olabilir, bilmiyorum. C hocası biraz erken bitiriyor olabilir. Yoksa akademik takvimde de final sınavlarımız daha sonra, yani bu kadar ara
Tamam.
vermezler diye
Bir
düşünüyorum.
bakalım ona hemen. Siz de bakın, ben de bakayım. Ona göre bir hafta belirleyelim. Soruları alacağım haftayı ben de bileyim, siz de bilin. İstinye. Akademik takvimi bana kim atabilir hızlıca? Atıldı mı? Biraz ya.
Hocam şimdi WhatsApp üzerinden yolladım ben.
Tamam. Bayağı da karışıkmış. Tıp fakültesi falan var. Final haftası yazmıyor galiba. Yazıyor mu? Final
Derslerin bitişi 8 Ocak olarak gözüküyor.
Tamam. 8 Ocak. Bizim bir de yılbaşına galiba bir dersimiz kaynıyor. Bir de öyle bir şey var. Önümüzdeki Perşembe galiba tatil ya, öğleden sonra. Bir ders de öyle gidiyor galiba.
Hocam son dersimiz kaynıyor işte büyük ihtimalle.
8 Ocak. Ha, bir dakika.
Yani finallerde 11 Ocak'ta 22 Ocak arasında olacakmış.
Tamam, onu gördüm. 11 ile 22 Ocak arasında olacak. Biz ne zamandayız? Beynim durdu. Tamam, cumartesi ders yapıyoruz. Önümüzdeki perşembe yapmıyoruz. Önümüzdeki cumartesi yapıyoruz değil mi? Yani bu cumartesi ve önümüzdeki cumartesimiz var. Sonrasında zaten dersler herhalde bitiyor. Final haftası başlanıyor. Sonra belki ya bir ders var ya da yok diye anlıyorum. Okey, tamam. Zamanımız olursa var zaten anlatacağım şey benim. Olmazsa da önümüzdeki hafta önümüzdeki dönem devam ederiz. Tamam. Soru sorma gününde de şey yaparız. Son dersimiz neyse, hangi gün son dersimiz olacaksa o zamanı soru sorma günü olarak yaparız, tamam mı? Onu hesaplarız şimdi. Daha fazla vakit kaybetmeyelim. Ben de bir sorayım. Ne zamana kadar ders işleyebiliyoruz. Ona göre ayarlarız. Ama şey yani, mümkün olan son hafta neyse o bizim soru sorma haftamız, soru sorma dersimiz olacak. Herhalde bir ders yeterli diye tahmin ediyorum. Anca soru birikir zaten. Anca vakit ayırabileceksiniz. Tamam. Bir de hani ne kadar verimli geçecek onu da beraber göreceğiz. Sonuçta 2 saatte bir sürü bug gelecek. Bakalım. So I guess we can start with the lecture if there are not any more questions, right? Okay. So today's topic is a common topic in game development. I said that one of the main reasons we use a game engine is collision detection, and we use some collision events and some trigger events in our little racing, endless runner type of project. But we did not jump into the details of collision detection in Unity. So today I'm going to go into the very depths of collision detection, and my aim is to make you a master of collision detection. I had to spend a day to collect all this info in a deliverable format, and I am going to, I'm planning to actually take this knowledge and turn it into a blog post. But for now, what I did was basically watch all the videos and read all the documents about collision detection, because there are different kinds of collision detections, and you will see in a minute why this is a huge topic. And like I said, at the end of this lecture, you will be mastering rigid bodies, colliders, triggers, and all the events. And you will know you will be able to foresee when a combination of two objects collide. You will be able to foresee what will be the outcome. So, okay, I'm going to actually share my screen, and I had prepared some notes. Let me just find them. Okay. So those are my notes, and those will be sent to your WhatsApp. Actually, I'm going to do it right now. So if you want, you can read the full notes from your computer. I tried to create some rules for collision detection. I tried to turn a complex amount of knowledge into small chunks of data. So first of all, why is our topic hard, and why there are lots of combinations? Let's check this. If you visit the official websites in Unity, I'm going to actually send you this link also. if you check this link, you will see that it talks about different kinds of colliders and different kinds of rigid bodies. And there's a reason for each type of objects. There's actually not objects, but these are components that you add into existing objects. I mean, every component has its own purpose, and they are in Unity for good reason. But since we aim to do very different things in game developments, there are a lot of different types of collider components, and because of that, there are combinations of those different components. And I mean, if you want, you can obviously memorize these two tables. This is a good reference, but instead I'm going to make you masters of those tables. I mean, when we are done, you won't need those tables. You will know them by heart, and you will be able to use the necessary tool for your game. Okay, so let's start. I mean, to read these tables, you need to first understand what is a static collider, what is a rigid body collider, what is kinematic rigid body collider, static trigger collider, etc. And after you know those terms, then you need to check, the intersection points, so that, for instance, when a static collider meets with a kinematic rigid body collider, I mean, collision detection does not occur. So this is collision detection matrix, and this is trigger detection matrix. So from the get-go, we can see some differences in those two metrics. First of all, collision detection, I mean, creating collision is kind of hard for Unity. There are only 5 possible ways to create collisions, and triggers are easier to create. There are a lot of combinations that you can see a trigger event. And another important thing is it's impossible, I mean, given two objects, it's impossible to have a collision event and trigger event at the same time. Because if you notice, there isn't any common points in between those two matrices, so if two different objects get intersected, you either get a collision event, or you can get a trigger event, or you can get nothing at all. It's impossible for you to get both collision events and both trigger events at the same time. So those are some rules of thumb. Okay. So I mean, I just wanted to give you a high-level overview. Now we will jump to what those terms mean. Okay. But actually, before that, I want to go back to my notes. So, okay. First of all, you need to decide when you need to capture collision and when you need to capture trigger events. So they are kind of similar. I'm going to actually open a project which I created beforehand. I named it collision trigger example. You will be able to download it from the Google Drive link. From the same link, you will be able to access the assets as well. So let's wait a couple of seconds until it's opened. Okay. If I select my sample scene, and if I, yeah, okay. So it's good enough. So, okay, can I do this? Okay. So in my scene, I created some basic cubes, and each cube has a different property. They look the same, but they're actually quite different. So now, okay, before jumping to that, yeah, the reason I opened Unity is to show you collision and trigger events again. So for that, I'm going to open up my script, which is here, and I'm going to double click it, open it in Rider. So I named this script trigger and collision detector, okay? So it detects both trigger events and collision events. Normally, every script should do only one thing, but this is for informational purposes, so it's okay. So let's see some differences, okay? Collision events are, as we talked about, on collision enter, on collision stay, and on collision exit. So we have three on collision events, and of course they are on collision enter 2D, on collision exit 2D, on collision stay 2D. But if we include those, there are 6 different collision events that we can capture and we can act accordingly. I'm going to delete those so that we won't get an error. We have, those 3 basic collision events. Actually, not collision state 2D. I added the wrong function, sorry. On collision exit, I wanted to add. Sorry about that. Let me just. Yeah, this is what I wanted. I'm going to delete not implemented exception, so we won't get an error. Okay. And we have 6 on trigger events. They are on trigger enter, on trigger stay, and on trigger exit. And I'm going to again delete exceptions, so they will be able to compile without problems. And we have 2D versions of those 3 functions. First of all, you need to notice that they have different parameters. So one of them takes collision as an argument, and other events, trigger events, take collider as the parameter, okay? And the difference between those is collider, I mean, when you are working with on-trigger events, you only get to know about the other collider that you collided with, and you can reach its transform, its name, etc. But when you use a collision, you can access to different values, such as the angle that those two objects intersected, you know, the velocity they are moving towards each other, etc. For instance, let's see what we have. So we can access contact points if you need a, you know, critical physics based game where contact points are important. You may need to use that. If you only need the collider of other objects, I mean, you can simply use other dot collider, and you can get the impulse. You can have the rigid body of, I mean, obviously there are some descriptions in the right as well. So this gives us the rigid body we hit. This gives the transform of the object we hit. Contact count gives us the, you know, number of contacts for this collision, and relative velocity is the linear velocity of the two colliding objects. So we can access a lot of things. So collision events give the collider plus some more info to us. And let's see what the trigger gives us. So if I click other dots bounce, I can, you know, access the world space that wraps the collider, etc. I mean, one thing that I dislike in Unity is that it gives the other objects with the name other in both trigger events and collision events. However, like I said, in collision events, the type of this other object is a collision. Meanwhile, in trigger events, the type of this other object is collider. So don't get distracted by the name, okay? So for instance, like I said, this can give the transform of the collider of the other object we collided with. And if we want to reach, you know, the same thing, we need to go inside our collision event and write other.collider.transform. So, like I said, from collision events, you can reach all the things that you could have reached in a trigger event, plus some other features. But that doesn't mean you need to prefer collision events just because they give some other information. So let's go back. Collision variable is passed inside on collision xxx functions. What I mean by those are the 6 functions that I have talked about. Collision variable holds information about the other objects you have contacted with, contact points, contact speeds, and contact directions. Meanwhile, collider variable is passed inside on-trigger xxx functions. By on-trigger xxx functions, I am talking about those 3 functions and also the 2D versions of those functions. Collider variable holds information about the other object you have contacted with. Okay, are there any questions up to this point? Okay. On collision functions give more information about the moment two objects are in contact, therefore give more control than on-trigger functions. For instance, you may want to add fire particles between two objects at the point of contact. For instance, if you have a racing game and your car is colliding with the wall, then you might want to add some fire particles. This, if you want this type of an effect, then you need to use on collision functions. For collision to occur, you need two true colliders. Okay, from now on, we will be talking about how collision can occur between two objects. So, if I read this sentence, I'm talking about true colliders and true rigid body. So first of all, we need to define true colliders and true rigid bodies. Okay. Before that, let's give you a tip. So that you can remember. A rigid body represents mass, which physics engine cares about, while collider represents a volume. We represent a volume basically for two reasons in game development: to avoid two objects intersecting each other, or to get notified when one object is inside a certain area. So sometimes we want a full volume so that we don't allow anything to go inside that volume, and sometimes we just want to check if an object is inside a certain area. Then this area we are talking about is an empty volume, sort of. You could say it's an empty volume, boş hacim. So let's go back to rigid body. We were talking about what we need for collision to occur. Okay. So for collision to occur, you need two true colliders and one true rigid body. Let's see what I mean by true collider and true rigid body. Okay. Actually, there's not an official term by Unity like true collider or true rigid body. Okay, those are the terms that I have made up for easy explanation. To show you what I mean by true collider, I'm going to open up Unity. This is what I mean by true collider. So this is a game object which has box collider. Okay, but it is not is trigger. Is trigger is not clicked. So if the object has a box collider and is trigger is unchecked, and there are not any other rigid bodies or something like that, then I call this type of object a true collider. Okay. Let's see what I mean by true rigid body. So this time, rigid body, in this object, or let me just go to this one. So I named this true collider, true rigid body. So it has a collider, which is a true collider. So its is trigger is not checked. And the rigid body is also true rigid body, meaning that its is kinematic field is not checked as well. Okay. So these are, pretty basic objects. If I go back to my notes, for collision to occur, you need 2 true colliders and 1 true rigid body. Just keep that in mind, okay? Learn this by heart. I'm going to tell you the details of that. I mean, we are going to talk about why this is the case. But for now, just keep that in mind. This is the necessary and sufficient condition. Okay, so let's jump to the game. I want to show you something, but there are some problems with our code. So I'm going to delete those. So if we see our code, I write collided with other transform name inside the console when we have a collision. And I write triggered by other transform.name when a trigger event occurs. So I added this script to all those cubes in my scene. Let me just. I guess I haven't added. Okay. So we can add later though. Let's make an experiment, okay? I want a true collider and true collider, true rigid body. I'm going to disable other objects from my scene, and I'm going to save my scene. Then I'm going to play my scene. So, like I said, I have 2 true colliders and 1 true rigid body. So those are the necessary conditions, right? So now if I drag my objects inside the other, they don't collide. Interesting. So they go between each other. But let's see if this is the case when I try to move the other object. So I can't move the other object inside this true collider. Does anyone have explanation? So this is a hard thing to explain. This has a rigid body and a collider, and I can't make it past this true collider. But I can easily select this and make this go inside other objects. Sometimes I push the other object, but generally I'm able to go past this object. So what's the difference? Does anyone have a clue? Okay. By the way, let's see that if we are able to collect some collision info. Okay. So for that, I'm going to choose my 6 objects, and I'm going to add trigger and collision detector to every one of them. So now when a collision occurs, they will write something to the console. Okay. So first of all, I am going to move my rigid body to my true collider. As you see, there are different logs. We have detected collision, and we have not detected trigger, as you see. and my true collider, true rigid body object is not able to go inside my true collider object. But now I am able to, move my true collider object even inside my other object, but sometimes I detect collision, sometimes I don't detect collision. I mean, it's not deterministic. So for instance, it's in 16, it's still 16. So I couldn't capture a collision when I tried to move through collider. You noticed that, right? But when I move my other object and collide with my true collider, every time we get in contact, I'm able to see this number increase. So I'm able to detect collision when true collider, true rigid body object is going inside true collider. Okay, so this is a mystery. Let's debunk this mystery. In some game engines, when the object moves, the collider does not follow the object. For instance, in BuildBox, as I recall, when you move the objects by hands like this, the collider does not follow it unless it has a rigid body component. Işık, have you used BuildBox?
Not sure. I mean, I didn't hear the name before, but I remember something like this.
So in Unity tries to help us actually. Even when our true collider object has no rigid body, it tries to move the collider for us. Okay, but since it does not want to waste too much performance on that, too much energy on that, it's not reliable. So we shouldn't count on that. True collide, I mean, if our object has no rigid body, we won't be able to move its collider for performance. I mean, this is a performance decision, basically. Because of that, if our object, I mean, is not going to move in our scene, and if it's going to have a full volume that it won't accept anything go inside it. For instance, a good example of that can be a mountain. You don't go inside a mountain. You can walk on top of mountain, etc. But you don't go inside the mountain like a ghost. So if your object is something like that, then you can use true collider. And you should not forget that, I mean, it does not have a rigid body, so you should not move that object. So this is another rule of thumb. This is why in my scene, if I select my rigid body and try to go inside my other object, which is, I mean, like a mountain, I get collision events as expected. But if I try to move my true collider, which I should not have, I mean, this is against the rules of Unity. I should not move an object that has no rigid body. Then, I mean, my barrier is acting like a ghost because its collider is actually here. Unity could not move the collider. sometimes it's able to move, but not always. So I should not depend on that. I should not count on that. Everything clear? I mean, this is not an easy concept. So I expect some questions. If I don't hear any questions, I feel more scared. By the way, I'm going to add a material for easy seeing. I'm going to create a material which will be a, I don't know, blue something. And I'm going to create another material which will be orange, and I'm going to create another material which will be I don't know, green perhaps, and I'm going to select my plane and add green. So I'm going to select green from here. Oh, this looks for physics material, so I'm going to so where do we add material? So let's try this. I wasn't able to change this color for some reason. Okay, now I'm able to change it. And my true collider will be let's make it blue, and other objects will be orange. So, okay. Let's name this red. I will have a yellow material as well, and its color will be yellow, and red material will be red. And my trigger collider, if I enable that, now it's green, but if I choose red, if I disable it, if I choose here, and if I choose yellow for that, okay, this is not yellow. This is yellow. Okay. So we saw the interaction between a true collider and a true collider true rigid body. So this is the most basic collision detection. This is the necessary and sufficient condition for collision detection. But you need to keep one important rule in mind. I mean, moving object should be this one. So this, I'm going to disable this. If you try to move this one, then you won't be certain to get a collision event. Just keep that in mind. So now we covered one rule of thumb. Let's continue. Like I said, for collision to occur, you need two true colliders and one true rigid body. This is the necessary and sufficient condition. If you are using only two colliders and one true rigid body, like in our example, then moving object in your scene should have the rigid body component attached and other objects should be stable. If you also want other object to move, you could technically use translate to change its transform.position. However, this is not advised, since without rigid body, Unity has trouble to move its collider when the object moves. Unity seems successful at that to uneducated eye, but in situations where moving the collider right on the time is critical, we need Unity physics systems help. For that, we need to add rigid body to that object as well. So everything clear up to this point? I'm going to check the time. Okay, we are talking for more than 1 hour. Maybe we can give a little break, and after 10 minutes, we are here again. Okay. Any questions? Then see you next lecture.
See ya.